All right, folks, we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office, North Georgia's only live online morning show. Josh, let's tell the folks how they can get in touch with the show at any time. There's all the information. And okay, so before I've got to go over a couple state issues. I just want to go really quickly. First of all, number 13. Michael Cohen, folks, was looking for a pardon. He lied. Jim Jordan said there was about 6 different lies perjury the other day in his testimony. He was looking for a pardon. They're trying to push it off as though his attorney asked for it or was looking into it without his knowledge, whatever. Michael Cohen was looking for a job in the White House, didn't get it, looking for a pardon, doing anything he could. He's as low level as you can get. Piece of dirt. So that I just wanted to roll out there. Now, I told you this, can't go all the way back into the story, but this lady, Kirstjen Nielsen, I think her name is, 19, was on Capitol Hill yesterday trying to explain that 1 million arrivals expected in 2019, 1 million, okay? And then we had this gentleman here, representative from Mississippi, Mr. Thompson. Let's play the video from him, and then let's play that video like I was telling you. It says video 1. I have video 1, video 2, and video 3. The one I marked video 1. All right.
For the record, Madam Secretary, are we still using cages for children?
Sir, we don't use cages for children. In the border facilities that you've been to, they were not made to detain children. As the children are processed through, they are in subparts of those facilities.
Madam Secretary?
Yes, I'm being as clear as I can, sir. Respectfully, I'm trying to answer your question.
Yes or no, are we still putting children in cages?
To my knowledge, CBP never purposely put a child in a cage, if you mean a cage like this.
Purposely or whatever, are we putting children in cages as of today?
Children are processed at the border facility stations that you've been at. Some of the
And I've seen the cages. I just want you to admit that the cages exist.
Sir, they're not cages.
What are they?
Areas of the border facility that are carved out for the safety and protection of those who remain.
Okay, in cages. Okay, first of all, the children. You know how many children have died south of the border that tried to get here in the back of tractor trailers with no air, suffocated. They've popped the doors on some of these cargo boxes and found kids dead. You know how many kids have died trying to make this trip? You know how many kids have died in trunks of cars in different places, in train cars, closed up train cars? But we have a very nice facility. I'm telling you, once they cross over here, we have a very nice facility. It's clean. It's not a cage. Okay, they're not treated like animals. They get cleaned up, food, and they finally get some sleep. So let's go. Remember this other picture? Let's go to Slotkin, number 23. Okay? Remember her? She's a freshman. She's number 23 there. Okay? Listen to her. That's video 2.
Execution numbers from about 20 to about 55%.
So what did you do? I understand it's complicated. We have a big bureaucratic system. When you saw those pictures of babies in cages, what did you do? What did you do to just scream bloody murder up the chain to the president, to say, I cannot represent an agency that is forcing its border patrol to do this? What did you do?
So I went to the border. I spoke to the men and women there. I looked at the facilities myself. I talked to HHS to understand and visited their facilities as well to understand the care that they provide to the children once they're in their custody. And then I spent a tremendous amount of time working with the Northern Triangle in Mexico to stop the phenomena closer to the source, to help stabilize those areas so that the children and families are not traveling here.
Okay, it just feels like it potentially wasn't enough if we're still dealing with these separations.
But just to be clear, we're not. We do not refer parents currently for prosecution, even when they break the law, by entering our country between ports of entry.
So switching gears to the northern border, so I'm also very concerned. Our border agents do amazing things every day. We have a much higher volume of traffic of trade coming through our northern border than through our southern border, and I'm concerned about the vacancies. Have any border personnel from the northern border been moved and detailed?
What did you do? Did you cry bloody murder? I mean, was your heart not broken seeing these kids in cages? They're not in cages. Did you not yell all the way up to the president, this must stop, these kids in cages? Ma'am, they're not in cages. Are you crazy? They're not in cages. What did you do? I think I am actually the humanitarian side of the Americans we are. I was happy to see them where they're at. I knew they were away from drug cartels. I knew, because drug cartels do not care to kill little children. They don't care to kill babies. They don't care. So it doesn't matter where I see a baby on this side of the border, I'm relieved to see they're safe and clean and sleeping and relaxed and not in fear with their mother, because they can detect the fear of the mother. That's what I am. They're not in cages. Did you yell bloody murder? Now here's another freshman. She's not an attorney, she's a nurse. So she's going to school you. Representative Lauren Underwood, number 24. She's vice chair of this committee. Okay? Vice chair. Let's play video 3.
Ms. Underwood.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. There are a lot of lawyers in this room, and I'm not a lawyer, I'm a nurse. Madam Secretary, I want to be very clear about what the family separation policy is doing to children's mental and physical health. And I want to know if DHS even considered their health when developing these policies. So I only have 5 minutes, so for these questions, I'm looking for a yes or no answer, if you could. When you officially began family separation in spring 2018, were you aware of research showing it causes trauma that can do both immediate and long-term damage to children's health?
The information that I was aware of at the time was that the trauma is part of the journey to come up to the border illegally.
Okay, so again, we're looking for yes or no answers, ma'am.
That was what I do know within the context of the question.
Okay, and were you aware that the trauma of family separation is connected to something called toxic stress?
I'm not familiar with that term, no.
Okay, were you aware that toxic stress can actually change a child's brain because it's still developing?
I wasn't familiar with the term.
Okay, were you aware that the effects of these traumas are cumulative, that they get worse the longer the trauma goes on?
Yes, sorry. I'd like to clarify because we're missing a bigger point here, but yes, ma'am, I'm sorry. Respectfully,
Okay.
let me answer your questions.
Were you aware that the traumatic effects don't go away even if a child is reunited with their family?
I understand that they are, no.
Okay. Were you aware that family separation can lead to behavioral changes and learning delays for children?
Just to be clear, family separation includes the 60,000 UACs who were separated by their parents before they ever got to the border.
I understand. My question is about the traumatic effects.
So let me just say this, and maybe it will help you with your questions. Families need to be put together. Children should never be put in this situation. We need to fix the system so that they're not.
Thank you. Were you aware that family separation can lead to behavioral changes and learning delays for children?
Again, kids should be with their families.
Okay, so I will take that as a no. Were you aware that it increases a child's risk of heart disease, diabetes, and cancer?
I would ask all parents to go to ports of entry, not to separate.
Heart disease, diabetes, and cancer, these separations could lead to. Toxic stress. Now I know my problem. I've been waiting all these years. It's toxic stress. Yes. I have to tell you, I get up and walk out. I just do. Are you aware that family separation could lead to increased diabetes, cancer, and, you know, I got to go. I got to go. I got a mountain of paperwork on the desk, and you're a child, and you're asking me questions like this. The entire stressful situation to the border. Folks, we should be thankful. Now, I understand we're trying to stop illegal border crossings, but we should be thankful when those kids do get across the border and they touch this soil so that they can sleep. And that's the humanitarian side of me, and I'm not approving just unlawfully crossing the border, but I do think it's totally ridiculous, disrespectful, and I have to tell you, I don't know if we got to be close to time in this country where we just scrub this whole thing clean, this thing we call United States of America, and start again from scratch. I don't know. I know I just said that, and it was like, what do you mean? What do you mean? But I'm just telling you, it seems to be, it just seems like we got to be close to time when this thing is shot out, just totally shot out. So let me go to this, first of all. Okay, yesterday we're going to change up. We're going to talk about, now, the anti-abortion heartbeat bill, okay, it got approval. This is Georgia. We're talking about Georgia, switching gears, switch gears, okay, we're talking about Georgia, and today is crossover, okay, and there's a couple things you're going to want to pay attention to today, all right? What bills do you want to pay attention to? This is the day you have to flood the governor's office, sure, okay. Now, when I say the governor's office, actually the governor does not drill down into legislation until it's done and goes into where he could sign it or veto it. But he does have a legislative representative. The governor's office has legislative representatives, okay, that go in and talk to them and encourage the House or the Senate and committees, heads of committees on legislation they'd like to see go a certain way. They just do. So you call today is crossover day, meaning whatever bill has been pre-filed and has gone through committee and is out. It's got to be out of committee, okay? Today up to midnight, and they will be there at midnight tonight. Today up to midnight. And if you want to watch it live, just go type in Georgia House of Representatives, click on it, go to the official watch live. You can switch over and watch the Senate live as soon as they're on the floor. You can watch to midnight and watch all the bills cross over. But what that means is after today, the bill that is got to be voted on in the House, HB and SB, Senate bills, got to be voted in the Senate. They then cross over to the chambers, and they have 12 days to work them through those bills. No more bills, nothing new. And they have 12 days to work through those bills through their committees, get them back over to the other chamber for adjustments and final votes to go to the governor's desk. So this is the 12-day stretch, but today is the big one. So if you have a bill that you have been following, you got to call your governor today, your senator, your state senator. You can call the lieutenant governor's office, okay? You can call the committee chair, but most of all, call your representative, okay? And tell them you want this bill to cross over. Now, for me, it's the anti-abortion heartbeat bill. It came out of committee yesterday. After hours of emotional debate, the State House panel voted Wednesday to advance legislation that would make abortion illegal as soon as a doctor can detect a heartbeat in a fetus. The bill is House Bill 481. So today, you want House Bill 481 when you call. You want it to cross over. Keep calling. I don't care. When they pick up the phone, they work for the citizens. They pick up the phone, they say, oh, it's you again. Yes. Your representative, hey, so-and-so's called 19 times. I don't care. Call them over and over. Tell them you want HB 481 to cross over. Period. Now, Missouri, the state of Missouri yesterday, okay, All right, Missouri House Representatives yesterday, the Missouri House of Representatives passed a bill Wednesday that has been labeled the strongest pro-life bill in the country, and that even states God is the author of life. Quote, HB, Missouri, you go. HB 126 in the state of Missouri passed a vote of 117 to 39 and now heads to the Senate. Both are controlled by Republicans. Governor Mike Parson, a Republican, supports it. Okay? The bill has multiple provisions related to abortion, including bans on abortion when there is a heartbeat and when the unborn baby can feel pain, but is unique in mentioning God. There's a God in this bill in Missouri. Oh, God. I might move to Missouri. I'm just telling you. And recognition that God, now this is in the bill, in recognition that God is the author of life. What a bill. Is the author of life, and that Article 1, Section 2 of the Constitution of Missouri provides that all persons have the natural right to life. The bill begins, it is the intention of the General Assembly of the state of Missouri to defend the right to life of all humans, born and unborn, and to declare the state and all of its political subdivisions as a sanctuary of a life that protects pregnant women and unborn children. So Missouri did that yesterday. Come on, Georgia. Come on, Georgia. You can do it now. See what else I have here. Gambling. Are you up for gambling? Are you? What do you say? Now, the House wants to push it out today and vote on gambling and put it on the ballot. Put it on the ballot. So what do you, I just had something pop up. I'm sorry. It caught me off guard. I'm going to take it off here because it is catching me a little bit by, not surprised, just in my view. Today, gambling. Are you in favor of gambling? What is the, do you want to put it on the ballot? Do you want to vote on it? Or call your representatives in the House and say no to gambling and horse race gambling? Okay? All right. I had one here. I had an article here I was reading, and I hope it comes, I hope I get it back here. Okay, I just had it here. All right, certificate of need. We talked about it yesterday, remember? Okay, certificate of need. And I want to thank Todd Ream. There's a lot of places I get my information, but Todd Ream has a great daily page. You should subscribe to it. I want to give him a shout out. Georgia Pundit, Todd Ream, does an outstanding job at the Capitol every day, and he puts a lot of bills out here. Now, this one is on the certificate of need. Okay, we talked about it yesterday, and stay with me here. I have it here. I have it. Hold on. I just had it this morning. Please forgive me on, that's the budget, Savannah. I just had it, folks. Please don't go away on this certificate of need that I was talking about. Darn, I just had it here. All right. House Bill 198, sorry about that. House Bill 198 to reform certificate of need will receive a vote in the House today according to Georgia Health News. Okay, House Bill 198. The State House on Thursday today will consider somewhat trimmed down version of its original proposed overhaul of state's Certificate of Need, con law, it's called that. The highly anticipated vote on House Bill 198 is expected to be close. The con bill regulates how health care facilities function in Georgia, all right? This is bigger than people are paying attention to. If it passes, a provider must get a certificate of need from the state to proceed with a major project, such as building or expanding a medical facility and changing what services are available to patients. Leading hospitals, okay, leading hospital groups oppose this board con revamp, saying it would hurt existing hospitals, including those in rural Georgia. Now, hospital groups say this will hurt rural Georgia hospitals. Proponents say it would spark competition, increase access to service, and reduce health care costs. What would happen is if this passes, it will allow for private surgical centers. We're going to call them surgical centers. All right, some of the most profitable surgeries that are done in hospitals today. Now, in rural Georgia, let me just say this to you very nicely. If you think, now, every time I talk to one of my friends, they're headed to Atlanta to something, got to head to Atlanta. We try to have good health care in rural Georgia is necessary. And we try to get the specialists up here and things like that, but for the most part, people are headed towards Atlanta. Now, there's a lot of surgeries that can be done in North Georgia, rural Georgia hospitals, and if they lose those surgeries, it's almost game over for rural hospitals. That's the argument. You may agree with this. So what they want to do is pass this law, and then what they would be able to do is have surgical centers or private centers that don't require a certificate of need. And next thing, and don't trust me, they will not be building these surgical centers in Ellijay and Blue Ridge. They will be building these very nice surgical centers around Atlanta, and you will be driving to them. And local hospitals are afraid that that's the last straw that will hurt, okay? Now, the Senate version, the Senate has a version of the Certificate of Need. Overhaul has still without a committee vote. They haven't finished a committee vote, but the House bill is still alive, and the new version passed the House Special Committee in Healthcare Access on Friday, so it's going to a vote. The legislation also would provide more rules for the Rural Hospital Tax Credit Program. Remember, they were bragging, don't forget, they were bragging about the Rural Hospital Tax Credit Program where you could give money to rural hospitals and there's a tax credit, but there's going to be more rules, okay? Which the latest proposal maintains at $60 million rather than the $100 million, okay, number. A lot in the Certificate of Need you have to pay attention to, and I hope you will. There'll be no gun bill, okay? I told you this. Good friend of mine. I think you're a great guy, okay? I think you're a great guy. You're a good friend of mine. I just love you, man. You and I had a discussion before session. I told you there would be no gun bill this year. It's not that I don't support the Second Amendment to the highest level, okay? But I told you there'd be no gun bill, there'd be no constitutional carry, and you seem to disagree. We had a disagreement, and now as you noticed, and you even posted yesterday on your social media page, there's not going to be a gun bill. No. There's not going to be RFA. Religious liberty is not going to be there. The takeaway for Christians, I guess we'll call it, not just Christians, that was wrong. Well, a takeaway for the religious community that is very pro-life will be the heartbeat bill. And I'm going to tell you something. If we do not pass a heartbeat bill in Georgia, and they're passing it in Ohio and Missouri and all these other states, folks, it's game over for these people calling themselves pro-life conservative Christians, Republicans. It's over. You can't stand up and say I'm Republican and I'm a Christian and I'm pro-life and I'm conservative. Another thing we got to be careful of, I'm not on the bandwagon of trying to push the economy down. I promise you I'm not. But the reality is state revenue has been down 2 months in a row. Now we're looking to see what happens in this next report. But Georgia state revenue is down 2 months in a row. And as you heard State Senator Steve Gooch say, if the third month comes in that revenue is down again in Georgia, there has to be a harder look at the Georgia state budget. Has to be, okay? So don't forget that. Must be a bigger look on the budget, because it's a $27 billion budget. $27 billion budget. And remember the other day, I'm going to give a shout out for a friend of the show. This is for D.A. King. He's been on the show many times, D.A. King. House Bill 202, okay? All right? House Bill 202. Now what that would do is tell us that, you know, House Bill 202 is simple and long overdue. It requires the Georgia Department of Corrections to publish a public quarterly report on the number of non-citizens in the state prison system, okay? So you would have to do it. All this bill does, it requires the Georgia Department of Corrections to publish a public quarterly. Say that 3 times fast. How many non-citizens are in our state prison system? That simple. Jay Powell has it stuck. It's stuck with Jay Powell from Camilla. District 171. We are asking you to call Jay Powell's office, 404-656-5141, 404-656-5141, Jay Powell, District 71 representative in the House, and tell him, he's the chairman of the Rules Committee, and tell him we don't see a reason why quarterly that the people, the citizens of Georgia, does not have the right to know who the non-citizens, how many non-citizens and who they are that we're housing in our jails, and our taxpayer money is buying them 3 hots and a cot. I'm your host, BKP. We're going to go ahead and rush out of here. I got a lot here on this Thursday. Don't forget, tomorrow we're at Circuit World. We've got a great show lined up at Circuit World tomorrow. And we do Ask the Doc with Dr. William Whaley, the all-star political panel. We also have the North Georgia Senior Living with Jesse Barton, and then our Pet of the Week from the Humane Society. So that's tomorrow. Let me make sure I didn't miss something that I wanted to show you. Okay, 14 minutes ago, let's go with this. 29 minutes ago, the President of the United States tweeted out, okay, it was not a campaign contribution and there was no violation of the campaign finance law by me. Fake news. 15 minutes ago, the President of the United States went to Twitter and said, we are on track to apprehend more than 1 million people coming across the southern border this year. Good job by our Border Patrol and others who are working in a broken system. Can be fixed by Congress so easy and quickly if only the Dems would get on board. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from the office. We will be back tomorrow morning with Good Morning from Circuit World in Blue Ridge. Take us out of here, Josh.